Look, as we like to say on this show, the truth matters, but only if you hear it.
Right.
We're going into a general election. How important is it for people to know the truth and understand what's actually happening in our country?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously critically important, right? I mean, this is why all of us do the work that we do. We want to make sure we understand what's happening in the world and convey it as clearly as we can to people, right? You know, I think what's happening in this moment, though, I mean, there's a lot of conversations. Obviously, the economics are bad and all these various things. But I think one understated thing, and I think we all understand it, but others may not, is the extent to which there exists an alternate reality, a different universe of media, which is telling a very different story. I wrote about this last year for Nieman Lab, for the Nieman School, and you know, the point that I tried to make there was there is a universe which is very big and very strong, saying things that it wants to hear and its base wants to hear. And it's bigger and stronger, and there's been so little pushback on it that it makes the fake things they're seeing seem more true because they have all these more media outlets, and it makes true things that are here, that are happening in the outside world here and in the Washington Post and other places, it makes that seem more false, right? Because we've so long let this sort of exist and not challenged it, we end up in the scenario where they don't view what we're doing as valuable because they have Fox News and they have Breitbart who's telling them the real thing. They have Donald Trump who's telling them the real thing.
But local papers, Chris, when you think about local papers, right, they are the ones that hold politicians accountable. They track corruption. They connect people. If you don't have local papers, what happens to the integrity of a community?
There was a study just this week that 5 local papers are closing every 2 weeks in America. 5 local papers. My first paying job was delivering a local paper at age 11. My first paying job as a journalist was at a local newspaper who will publish its last online edition, period, its latest iteration today. It's gone. It's done. It's just part of it. And in the big picture, yes, everything you say, and by the way, local news consumers are fact checkers, right? If you tell them something's going on, they see it, they know it. But not having a way to fight disinformation, particularly now, particularly with the stakes. If you can't fight disinformation with information, it's not only sad, it's not only bad that you don't have a place where people can go, where they know that what they read is the truth. It's dangerous. That's where we are right now.
How much of this problem, Tim, is the push for profit, right? Since we've seen a lot of media outlets, especially smaller ones, get scooped up by private equity firms or hedge funds, it's this profit optimization model. And it's not that the media was intended to be a money-losing business, but it certainly wasn't supposed to be this giant profit center.
I mean, it was a pretty profitable business when local newspapers had a monopoly on local advertising, and the internet kneecapped all of that. So, I mean, it's about profits in the sense that I think some of the more recent buyers, Alden Capital, for example, they're interested in the real estate underneath the printing press, and they can find a way to just break it up and make money. The larger issue here is that, you know, the web basically derailed classified advertising, and then subscription revenue couldn't make up the gap. And readers also got used to social media giving them information for free, even if it was fake or bad information. They got, you know, trained to not pay for high quality news. And it's one of those things, you know, you're not going to miss me till I'm gone. And there's this nuclear winter washing across local news. And I think there's going to be this incredible deficit of communal bonds and awareness of what your local government is doing and a watchdog effect and all of those sort of things that people want, not just because newspapers provide it, but it's because what people need for citizenship and local participation. And once it's finally wiped out, then I think people will have to decide what they want in its place. And I think they're going to have to understand that if you're willing to pay $10 a month for HBO or $15 a month for Netflix, that you could pay $8.50 a week for a good local newspaper.
I mean, I completely agree with all of that. I think that one of the things that is really sad is that even when you have national outlets that are, some are doing okay, a lot are struggling, like the LA Times at this point. But when you have it so that you only have the big national outlets, you lose the ability to take the big picture and zoom it in, which people need. People need to understand why what's happening at the federal level, at the state level, is affecting their community. And without the resources that a local paper can provide, it's really hard to actually get that level of awareness in the community about what this bill being debated will do for your family, whether the governor has signed off on a free school lunches program or if they're blocking it. That sort of thing matters to people. And without that sort of like interface with your community, it really breaks down.